The Philippines has among the largest reef area in the world. It is at the heart of the Coral Triangle. Because of geological and oceanographic processes and the forces of nature, there is more diversity here than anywhere else on Earth. But many of the shallow reefs outside of marine protected areas are not doing well. For decades, these reefs have been decimated or degraded by destructive fishing, pollution, and rapid coastal development. Shallow reefs are now more vulnerable to the drastic effects of climate change. But what about the deeper reefs? Much of what we know about coral reefs are confined to the upper 20 meters depth. There is a need to go beyond, deeper. At 30 to 150 meters depth, between the bright shallow reefs and the perpetually dark ocean floor is the mesophotic, or the twilight zone, a dimly lit, mysterious realm that is rarely seen by human eyes. The upper boundary of this deep blue environment, 30 meters or about 100 feet deep, is beyond the reach of most divers. Despite receiving less sunlight, the mesophotic zone is not devoid of corals. This lesser-known ecosystem is surprisingly biodiverse and provides exciting opportunities for new discoveries. Mesophotic reefs may exist or have existed along the entire Philippine archipelago, but are left unexplored. As part of its national program for the coral reef research, the Department of Science and Technology has funded the Geophysical Coral Mapping Project, or GCM. The GCM project, conceptualized and implemented by Dr. Fernando Siringan and colleagues at the University of the Philippines Marine Science Institute, is a pioneering research on mesophotic reefs in the country. GCM has geological, oceanographic, and biological components. The project aims to map the seafloor to depths up to 200 meters, identify processes that influence the morphology of reefs, and document the continuity of reefs beyond 20-meter depths, particularly the mesophotic zone. GCM has three main study areas: Apo Reef, the Verde Island Passage, and Patnanungan. The geology component uses advanced geophysical instruments like the single-beam, multi-beam, and side-scan echo sounders to map coral reefs in a way that has never been done before in the Philippines. Locating mesophotic reefs, studying their morphology, and understanding how they develop into larger reefs require mapping large areas and great depths. In Apo Reef, the largest reef in the Philippines, detailed three-dimensional maps have shown reef walls, terraces, and pinnacles. In Patnanungan Reef, 3D mapping has also visualized other features of the seafloor, such as paleochannels, debris lobes, and smooth areas. These can be paired with side-scan images, which reveal the seafloor's roughness and complexity. These features provide clues on where to find mesophotic reefs. The oceanography component uses Acoustic Doppler Current Profiler, or ADCP, and Conductivity Temperature and Depth Profiler, or CTD, to collect detailed measurements of the physical characteristics of the water column. Current circulation models are vital to understanding the distribution of shallow and mesophotic reefs. Moving waters transport coral larvae to areas where they eventually settle and propagate. Upwelling currents, which sweep nutrient-rich water up from the depths, have been identified along the Verde Island Passage, the epicenter of marine biodiversity. The biology component conducts benthic community surveys and underwater fish visual census to describe and quantify the biodiversity abundance, and distribution pattern in mesophotic reefs. Using only conventional scuba, a maximum depth limit of 40 meters, and the bottom time of 10 minutes per dive have been set for safety reasons. When it comes to deep dives, getting back safely is the #1 priority. GCM is developing a drop-type camera system that allows researchers to collect biodiversity information at greater depths from the safety of the boat. This prototype remotely deployed video system, or RDV, uses multiple high-resolution cameras to capture videos of fish communities and benthic covers simultaneously. A remotely operated vehicle, or ROV, helps overcome the present technical and practical limitations of deep diving that the project faces. The ROV is often piloted in missions to explore or ground truth georeferenced locations in specific depths. It is also used for surveys that cover the entire depth range from the shallow reefs to the lower mesophotic zone. Unlike the shallow reefs that are covered by branching and massive corals, mesophotic reefs are dominated by plate-like and encrusting forms. Their flattened shapes help them minimize shading and maximize surface area exposed to sunlight. Over 50 coral genera have been found at mesophotic depths in GCM sites. Those that do not depend on sunlight, like the black corals, gorgonians, and sponges, are more common here. Gorgonian sea fans can grow very large or form dense clusters, especially along reef slopes. In Upper Reef alone, over 150 species of fish have been encountered at the upper mesophotic zone. Fish abundance and biomass have been surprisingly high. Many are large predators. Many more are plankton feeders. Larger individuals and schools of commercially important fishes are also more common here than in the shallow. Though still underappreciated, mesophotic reefs may be as important to science and society as the shallower reefs. Consider the deep reef refugia hypothesis. Deep reefs can serve as refuge for many species of corals, fishes, and invertebrates. Because of their depth and distance from the shore, they may be buffered from natural and human-induced disturbances that plague their shallow counterparts. There is also hope that they can serve as reproductive reservoirs that can reseed damaged reefs. The Geophysical Coral Mapping project takes the fundamental steps to improve the Philippines' technical capability in mesophotic reef research and to document these unexplored reefs. This project hopes to promote research and protection of the mesophotic reefs. For our sake, let's all help protect both the shallow and the deeper reefs while we still can.